From the window to the walls is what they trying to go with right now. We just gonna stay by the window. We don't want nothing to do with Tim Walz. Just like he ain't want nothing to do when he was getting ready to go to combat and he decided he was gonna quit. You know what I'm saying? We actually have veteran Tom Behrens, who replaced Tim Walz on his 05 combat deployment to Iraq, and he compares him to somebody not so good, okay? He says that the U.S. and his troops needed him, and he ran. Tim Walz, that is.
The warning order was already out. Everybody knew they were going, and I don't know if he's never responded why to anybody really, except that, well, I had to quit to run for Congress, which is a lie, like a lot of the other ones. A lot of the lies he tells. I mean, but he basically said that. But, you know, I don't know if he was a coward when he originally did it, or if he felt, well, I'm in over my head. If I go there, I'm going to get people killed, or I'm, you know, maybe deep down he felt I'm incompetent. You know, I mean, you can't talk your way out of somebody shooting at you in a scenario like that. And, you know, he's very good at talking and you know, doing that. I mean, I got to give him credit there. He loves hearing himself talk. The Star Tribune reporter I talked to way back when, he actually said, well, isn't that treason? And I said, well, treason is probably one level over and above what he did. I said, because that's selling the country out to another nation. You know, if you're a double agent spy or something, I mean, that's one thing. But, you know, he is a traitor, because a traitor is basically a person who betrays a country. And that is what he did. And then I got thinking about like that Bergdahl guy that just walked away from his unit in Afghanistan. And it was like, you know, that literally is what Tim Walz did. He is a deserter too.
Yeah, you can't lead your people like that, especially being somebody in the leadership role, leaving your people out there to defend themselves and you aren't there to aid whatsoever. That's beyond cowardice.
It's a different version of it, but a soldier who leaves or runs away from service or duty with the intention of never returning. That is exactly what he did. He had no intention of ever coming back into Guard or filling out one more day in combat boots. When he pulled the plug and was gone, he basically said, tough crap, United States, I'm getting the heck out of here. And yeah, that's I'm not ashamed to call him a traitor or deserter. If you're just lying for political gain, or you're lying just because you think that's what the people you're talking to want to hear, that's not good as a leader of a country. I mean, to me, that's just it's undescribable how somebody can do that. You know, as far as the soldiers out there, there's an awful lot of them that, I mean, before 2000, I had never been to war. I've been overseas training here and there. We were in the Cold War, which technically was a war. We didn't fire a shot, but we built things up to the point where we broke the Soviet Union without having to be in a hot war with them, which was good. But, you know, for somebody to say they've been in war and they're not, that is, you know, like the saying has been, stolen valor. You're basically out there acting like you're something that you're not, and that's not a good thing. That's bold-faced lying.
I've received a whole lot of messages from my last video of Tim Walz from veterans saying how enraged they are. They blood boiling listening to the interview, and no veteran would tolerate that coward, and he is who he is. And that's exactly what it turned out to be. Come on, man, you can't lead your people like that. You can't leave. You retired in 2006. The unit deployed in 2006. Okay. All right, my guy. And then they tried to go after JD Vance and his efforts. Oh my gosh. All right, so we got a video from 2009 that shows a veteran confronting Tim Walz's staff over claims that he served in Afghanistan. But before we get into that one, I got to show y'all this one right here. Oh my God. His name is Carl Higbee. Yep. He works for Newsmax. When I tell you, he completely demolishes Tim Walz for his stolen Valor and refusal to vote in favor of veterans. Let's check this out.
Day 2 of Tim Walz on the campaign trail as the VP nominee, and this guy has already become the laughingstock, but he has particularly angered veterans, like me, with previous claims surfacing that he actually went to war. We told you last night that he resigned early from his enlistment because his unit was to be deployed to Iraq. But that didn't stop him a few years ago when he was campaigning saying, oh, I'd gone to war.
I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
Weapons of war that you carried in war. Okay, Tim, what weapon and in what war did you carry it in? J.D. Vance had the same question today.
Well, I wonder, Tim Walz, when were you ever in war? What was this weapon that you carried into war, given that you abandoned your unit right before they went to Iraq, and he has not spent a day in a combat zone? What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage. Do not pretend to be something that you're not.
Now, everybody is asking him this question, including, finally, the press pool is.
Governor, Vance accused you of stolen valor. Your response. Governor, Vance accused you of stolen valor. Your response.
Guy didn't even try to answer the question. This needs to be asked every single day, folks. This is super important. Look, this is the cardinal sin among veterans, to claim military service that you did not do. It's so verifiable that I'm like beside myself that someone would say they went to war when they didn't.
People who like to garner attention and attention seekers will lie about something like this, but I will never, ever, ever in my life, mock, joke, or insinuate that I somehow went to war, knowing that there are people who lost their lives trying to defend my freedom of speech to lie and say I went to, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man, I can't do that. It's disgraceful.
When they didn't, especially when guys like him got out of the military because they were being called to war. The center of all this, all of his political campaigns have been, oh, look at me, I'm a veteran. And it's like Tim Walz either didn't notice or think we would notice, or maybe that we're too dumb to comprehend, like most Democrats. He just lies with impunity and thinks that therefore that's the truth. Yesterday at his rally, he took a jab at Trump. And look, I was like, bro, this is not going to end well for your political career.
First of all, he doesn't know the first thing about service. He doesn't have time for it because he's too busy serving himself.
Look, I'm tired of I'm tired of your bone spur talking point from Vietnam. Okay, look, Trump was not in the military, but you want to talk about service, dude? Trump almost got shot in the head 3 weeks ago. He took one in the ear instead and stood up and yelled, fight, 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 and then went out and did another rally like 2 days later. DJT is a billionaire who could be sitting on a private beach somewhere that he owns, drinking margaritas in the sun, but nope. Instead, he's getting prosecuted in deep blue jurisdictions for things that aren't even crimes. In one case, by a prosecutor who was illegally appointed, who raided his Mar-a-Lago home. DJT spends every day getting crapped on by like 90% of the media, who just prior to him running as a Republican, they used to love him. Don't lecture me about service, Tim. You got a military paycheck for 24 years to prepare for war. And the second they called your name, you dipped out. You joined the military, but then when you were called to do the one thing the military trained you to do and counted on you doing, which is go to war, you bailed, Tim Walz. Just like you bailed on supporting our veterans when you were in Congress. One of Tim's former colleagues weighed in on this yesterday. Representative Jim Banks said on Twitter, quote, I served my first 2 years in Congress with Tim Walz on the House Veterans Committee. Walz opposed the most important veteran legislation passed in decades just because it was President Trump's. The Mission Act was very bipartisan, but Walz opposed giving our veterans better access to health care because he didn't want to give President Trump a win. Wow. Wow. This tells you everything you need to know about this guy. I can't say I'm surprised. because Tim Walz is a radical party-centric ideologue, lunatic. And Trump, the guy Walz is up there criticizing, did more for veterans than any recent president in my lifetime. And what did Kamala Harris do? His now running mate. What did she do with Joe Biden? They rehired all of the 8,000 bad VA employees that Trump fired with back pay and paid out massive bonuses illegally. And as a result of that out-of-control spending in the VA that didn't put veterans first, in as little as 2 weeks, folks, we covered it on this show, veterans' disability benefits, forget like actually going to war, unlike Tim Walz, might get cut because the VA is over budget. Not one word about that from the Democrat VP candidate who claims to have honorably served his country. Get bent. Tim Walz is the John Kerry of 2020. Actually, he's even worse. At least John Kerry actually was physically at war. Walz didn't even go. Look, if you know a veteran, this monologue will be posted on the Newsmax Twitter in, I don't know, like an hour, okay? Send this to them. Send it to everybody they know. Not one of the 22 million veterans should be voting for Tim Walz and Kamala Harris in the next 90 days. This election is shaping up to be a bunch of stolen valor, purple-haired, pride flag-waving betas and feminists versus American muscle who believe the nuclear family is great, limited government, and individual rights. Choose wisely, America.
Sheesh. Oh my gosh! But look, he might be the first guy to win a debate against his wife. Like, we might have found the first guy who could win a debate against his wife right there. Because whoa, he started cooking. Somebody said, I'm reading comments. Tim Stolen Valor Walz. It's hard to believe there could be a worse combo than Joe Biden and Kamala, but they did it, y'all. Kamala, they call her Kamala. How you say this? Kamabla. That's how she wrote it. Kamabla. And this fake Midwestern loser take the prize. Everything about him reeks. I'm just sick that we got until November to listen to either of these two people's records and policies. I guarantee you, Kamala thought she would run out and get her own veteran. And like the leftards, she didn't do any research. She just took his lying ass word for it and ran with it. Tim Walz is a socialist lying coward, and nothing the Democrats or the leftists or MSNBS, ABC, and all these other people can do or say that will dispute the truth about him. From what I'm observing, it looked like Tim Walz is allergic to bravery. Right? You trained up for one moment for 24 years just to bail out. You know what I mean? That's what you call piece of behavior, And I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, not one American, no American should be okay with somebody exaggerating their service to America. You know what I'm saying? I've seen enough. These people are disgraceful for everything that they would do to this country. Now, I told y'all in 2009, a veteran confronted Tim Walz's staff over claims that he served in Afghanistan. That clip just resurfaced. Told y'all, you run for president, boy, we learned everything about you.
My name is Dave Thule. This is Travis Quinlan. We're both constituents and Iraq War vets. We're hoping to talk to someone about a photograph I have of Congressman Walz. Okay. Not sure if you have ever seen this picture before. Mm-mm. Okay. Well, in it depicts 2004 Afghanistan veteran. Right. Congressman Walz is not an Afghanistan war veteran, is he?
He served in Italy as part of Operation Enduring Freedom.
Okay, but he didn't serve in Afghanistan, did he?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Hi, Rick. I'm Dave Thule. How you doing? Nice to meet you. There's a young lady in the other office that was helping us, but if you can. You guys want to come in and have a seat? Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, have a seat. Hi, I'm Dave Thule. This is Travis Quinlan. We're both constituents and we're both Iraq war vets. We serve together with the Minnesota National Guard. So we're here on a veteran-related issue. I don't know if you are familiar with this picture at all. This was taken in 2004 here in Mankato, and it's actually been posted on the internet for quite some time, and nobody quite realized what it is. But in this picture, Congressman Walz here is holding a sign that says "Enduring Freedom Veterans for Care." So tell me what what your understanding of his military background is.
Yeah, I understand that he was called up in support of it. Obviously, in support of that operation. That's how I've always understood it. And so the time that he, when he got called up, I guess I've always referred to it as, he was called up and served in support of Operation Enduring Freedom.
Okay, so is there any question in your mind what Enduring Freedom is?
No.
Okay, so I guess most people, and yourself included, would associate Enduring Freedom with Afghanistan.
Right, but
okay.
I mean, I think it, as I also understand that it encompasses a great deal.
Well, Operation Enduring Freedom is limited to Afghanistan and the airspace directly above. There's other units that are called up in support of, and I'm sure that's probably what his military orders said.
Right.
My concern, other than this picture, is that the congressman's website, his official biography, says simply that he's mobilized with his battalion in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Without any other details, don't you think it's reasonable people might assume that means he served in Afghanistan?
Perhaps, I guess.
Okay. So it's been 5 years now, or I guess almost 5 years, that the congressman's official biography has said he served in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Isn't it reasonable, if it causes confusion, or it may cause confusion, that somebody may have thought to change that and explain that he served in Italy and not in Afghanistan?
I mean, what would you suggest it be changed to, I guess?
Simply to add the words in Italy. Served in support of Operation Enduring Freedom in Italy. Simple as that, because then it specifies that he served in Italy. Now, don't get me wrong, I certainly appreciate the Congressman's service. 24 years in the National Guard, we're both National Guardsmen ourselves. We appreciate his service, and we appreciate his being deployed. But there's a huge difference between being deployed to a base in Italy and being in the combat zone in Afghanistan. Okay? Are you aware of any of the media reports from 2006 that inaccurately cited the Congressman as a war veteran?
Specifically, I can't think of any right now, but I don't. I would imagine that I know people have approached me as a staffer and thought that, and so I've corrected them. If you serve in support of an operation, you're not necessarily a veteran of that operation. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So your question is more about this picture than his biography.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
The biography is one of them. That's bad. That's misleading. That's a little bad.
This right here, under current U.S. law, this could get the congressman probably thrown in jail in violation of the 2006 Stolen Valor Act, which says it is a crime, a federal crime, to portray yourself in writing or verbally as having received an award or decoration authorized by Congress that you didn't receive. Congressman Walz is clearly claiming in this sign, in this picture with this sign, to be an Enduring Freedom veteran. He is clearly, nobody disputes the fact that he is not an Afghanistan or Enduring Freedom veteran. So this represents a fairly serious issue. So can I leave you my name and number, and can I trust that someone will get back to me on this issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me grab it. Dave, was it?
Yes.
How do you spell your last name?
Thul, Thul.
Saying stuff like this just makes me continue my thought on how the entire Democratic Party is just a scam, man. He's weird. If they keep trying to go with this whole Donald Trump is weird and his supporters, he's weird. Like, did anybody vet this guy? Does anybody else in the comments think he's a coward? I'm gonna just tell y'all like this. Choose wisely, America.